Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Nay's Pink Bookshelf. My name is Nays for those of you who are new to the channel or who just happen to stumble across this video. And today's video, as the title says above, is finally going to be my November book haul. I am missing about 3 books from this haul, but they won't be here until December, so I'm just going to include those in my December book haul. But I did get a bunch of books from my son from his Scholastic book sale, and then they had a few YA novels, so I figured I would just buy 3 of those for myself. So I spent $75 on him and then about $35 on myself, so we have that coming. But we're going to dive in. I'm going to start off with Book of the Month, YA, and Book of the Month since I already did separate videos for those. Then we'll dive into review books, and then I will get into the books that I received. Then I will get into the books that I purchased myself. So starting off with Book of the Month. If you have not seen my Book of the Month November picks, you can just click the eye on the screen to see that to get more information, but I'm just going to run through these really quickly. So the first book we have is going to be Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is adult contemporary romance, and I heard that it's really steamy and angsty, and I'm super excited to dive into this. This does deal with an interracial couple, and the main character is a thicker black woman, which I am here for. I love the illustrated cover on this book, so I'm super stoked to dive into this. Following that, we have another contemporary romance, and that's going to be The Bride Test by Helen Hoang. This is a companion sequel to The Kiss Quotient, which I am so excited to read. Contemporary romance, angsty. It does deal with an autistic main character, which I am totally here for. I loved Stella from the first book, so this one deals with Michael's cousin, Kai. And I know there's a third one coming out with Kai's brother, Quan. I don't know much about Quan or Kai yet because I haven't read it yet, but I'm super stoked to get into this. So this was another November pick. The last one from Book of the Month for November is going to be Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. All I know is that this is fantasy mystery, and it's really dark and gritty and dark magic, and I'm so ready to read this. This is her adult debut novel. I love Leigh Bardugo's writing as a YA author, so I'm super stoked to dive into this and see what I think of this book. Following that, we're going to get into Book of the Month YA. Again, if you want to see my unboxing and haul of that with more in-depth information, click the eye on the screen for that. But the first book is going to be The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. I am such a fan of her writing. I have loved her Wrath in the Dawn duology. I have not read Flame in the Mist. I don't know if she has another book after that, but I'm going to read Flame in the Mist first before I dive into this. But I know that this is going to be a series. It deals with vampires, but vampires are not really prominent in this book until the end. Some people have mixed reviews. I'm interested to see where I fall on the spectrum. YA fantasy and or YA historical fantasy, if you will, because it does take place in 1872 New Orleans. So I'm here for it. I'm super stoked. We have that. Then we have contemporary fiction, and that's going to be The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Chbosky. I've read this before. It's okay. I love the movie over the book, but this is the 20th anniversary edition, so there's an additional letter from Charlie in here. I am going to reread this because I found that back then I wasn't really heavy on contemporary at all. Now I'm a little interested in contemporary, though contemporaries normally get about a 3.5 star rating from me. So I'm excited to reread this and see if my thoughts have changed from the first time I read it to now. The next book is going to be another contemporary fiction, and it's On the Come Up by Angie. All I know is that this is YA contemporary that follows a young girl who is 16 years old named Bree and her journey to becoming one of the best or greatest rappers. I heard that it takes place in the same kind of world, in a sense, or a neighborhood where The Hate You Give took place. I did not read The Hate You Give. I have not watched it yet, so I am slacking on that. So I'm excited to dive into this and also listen to the audiobook because it does have rap inside. The next book is going to be a YA thriller, and that is going to be I Have No Secrets by Joelson. All that I remember from this is that this follows Gemma, who can't speak and she can't move, but then there is a new technology that's out that gives her the ability to speak. And unfortunately, during her time of not being able to speak and move, there was a guy that she knows that came and told her about a murder he committed. So now it's basically a race against time, either her revealing who the murderer is or him getting her. I'm excited to see how this goes. It's YA thriller, and I'm not a thriller person. I don't do thrillers, suspense, horrors, none of that. So I'm excited to see what I think. This is a short read. It's really thin, so I'm excited. Okay, so the next 3 books from Book of the Month YA are going to be fantasy. I love fantasy. Fantasy is my genre. I'm a fantasy lover. So the first book we have here is We Hunt the Flame by Hafsah. Can't pronounce that last name, but that author there, I don't want to butcher the name. But all that I remember from when I read the synopsis is that this follows Zafira, who is a hunter, and Nasir, who is the prince of assassination, or he's a prince of death, and he assassinates people for his father. And it's basically them two, they end up going into the forest for something to retrieve some type of artifact. There's an artifact that they need to retrieve, but something goes wrong, and I guess it's the two of them working together. I'm not 100% sure what this book is about. I know that I was interested in getting it, so I got it. That's all I remember. If you want to know exactly what this book is about, just click the eye to go watch my Book of the Month YA unboxing, but it is YA fantasy, and I'm interested in diving into this. Following that, we have The Guinevere Deception by Kiersten White. All that I remember is that this follows Guinevere, who's King Arthur's wife, and it deals with magic. And Guinevere is a changeling. Sounds epic. That's all I need. That's all I needed to know. Lastly, from Book of the Month YA, we have Song of the Crimson Flower by Julie C. Dow. I own so many of her books. Have yet to read any of them, but I know that this is Vietnamese-based fantasy. So I'm super, super excited to get into this. I know that this deals with Lan, who is, she's something in the life. So she's a wealthy nobleman's daughter, and this guy named Bao, who is a poor, what is he? A poor physician's assistant, loved her. She rejected him because of his, I guess, status. She finds his flute, but the flute has his soul inside, and he's cursed. The curse can only be broken with true love, and it's just them two going on an adventure to figure it out. So it sounds like a second chance kind of romance fantasy novel. I'm interested to dive into this because I'm really interested in reading more Vietnamese-based kind of fantasy novels. I read a lot of Japanese-based and Korean-based, but not a lot of Vietnamese. So I do have Korean, which is Wicked Fox. And then I have this now, which is Vietnamese, which I'm so excited for. So we have that. Moving on to review books. So I have a few here to share with you guys. The first one is going to be Her Cowboy Till Christmas by Jill Kemerer. I don't know how to say that, but I'm not going to butcher it. But this is a Christian contemporary romance, and it sounds like it's going to be really, really sweet and cute. And it's just a short read, so I can't wait to dive into this. The next book I have here is going to be another Christian contemporary, and this is one that's called The Camera Never Lies by David Rawlings. He is the author of The Baggage Handler, and his writing is really, really intricate. All that I remember from this is that it deals with a married couple and I believe their daughter? Yeah, a married couple and their daughter, and every time he takes pictures, it reveals something going on within the family. So it's like the camera never lies, photos don't lie. So that is quite interesting, and I can't wait to see how this goes and how I will enjoy this book. The next book I have is going to be biblical fiction, and I've already been sent like 3 copies of this book. I've read it already. And then I was sent 2 extra copies, so yeah, but it's going to be The End of the Magi by Patrick W. Carr. This was so good. I gave it a 4-star rating. I enjoyed this a lot. It deals with the Magi, who were the 3 Magi to bring baby Jesus the gifts, so it's kind of like their story, given the background, a beginning and an end, and it was pretty good, very action-packed, journey-based biblical fiction, but I think even if you're not a Christian, you would enjoy this book, so we have that. Okay, so the next book I got sent for review is going to be The Dating Charade by Melissa Ferguson. I got this for an Instagram tour that I'll be doing, but this is Christian contemporary romance, and what I remember is that this deals with a guy named Jet and a lady named Cassie. They do these kind of like dating apps or whatever, go on a date, they have a date together, it's a hit, but then they each individually have 3 children dropped off at their doorsteps. So I guess it's just their kind of romance. I'm not 100% sure, it just sounded like it was epic to me, so I requested it for the Instagram tour, and I'm also a part of a blog tour for this book, so I'm super psyched, super stoked to dive into this. It looks like it's going to be a good read. It just says, just when you think you've met your match, the charade begins. So yeah, that's that, and it comes out December 3rd, so I'm super stoked. The next book we have is Room to Breeze by Liz Talley. I don't know if I hauled this or not, I can't remember, but this is going to be contemporary, and what I do remember is that this deals with a mother-daughter relationship and how the mother ends up dating the daughter's ex, and the daughter ends up flirting with a guy her mother's age. It sounds twisted. I'm super excited to read this and really laugh and see what goes on. It says, forget exes, fiancés, and lovers. This mother-daughter relationship defines complex. So, yeah, I'm excited to see. I don't read a lot of women chick lit fiction, so we'll see how I feel about this. Okay, so the next book I got was for a blog tour that I'm going to be a part of, and it's by Joanna Ruth Meyer, and it's Beyond the Shadowed Earth. A pact with a god demands a heavy price, and it follows a girl named Etta, I think her name is Etta, and she wants to be empress. There's going to be some magic involved, there's going to be some romance involved. It's YA, I'm super stoked to read it. There we go. Okay, and the last 3 books I've already read because I had to review them for the month of November, so I read them already, and they were all good. So the first one is going to be by Duncan Hamilton, and this is going to be the Dragon Slayer book 2, which is The Knight of the Silver Circle. This is adult fantasy about dragons, and the first book to that is going to be Dragon Slayers, which I did get a chance to review earlier this year, or was it last year? But this was book 1, and this is book 2. If I'm not mistaken, I gave this a 3.5 or a 4-star rating. I can't remember, but as much as I enjoy this trilogy so far, what I don't like about this trilogy is that it is very heavy on the internal dialogue, internal thought process, and I'm the type of person, when I read a book, I need there to be a lot more character interaction, and this is really heavy on that inner dialogue, and it just bores me. It bores me to death. Don't get me wrong. I love the characters. I love the action. The world building is interesting. The fantasy aspects, the dragons, all great, but that inner dialogue kills me, because it's like they're talking to themselves for like 6 pages straight, and then you get 2 pages of character interaction, then they're talking to themselves for another like I don't care for that type of story. So that's why I keep giving this series like a 3.5 4-star rating. If it wasn't for that inner dialogue, this definitely easily could be a 5-star for me, but the inner dialogue, I don't like it. So that's why I keep giving the series that kind of rating. But it is a really good series if you don't mind that inner dialogue of a character speaking to themselves, thinking within themselves, and this would be perfect for you. But I prefer a lot of interaction between characters. That's just the type of reader I am. But I do love this so much. Faradon, Gil, Celine, this is such a great trilogy, but that inner dialogue kills me. But we have this. I read it already. Like I said, I enjoyed it. The last 2 books are going to be a graphic novel. I have books 1 and 2. So the first one is going to be Estranged by Ethan M. Aldridge. This follows a changeling and a human child who were basically switched at birth, and the changeling name is Ed, and they call the human child the child with an E at the end. And it's just them 2 meeting each other, understanding that their lives were swapped, and switching back in the end. It's really good fantasy. And then I also have the sequel, which is The Changeling King, by the same author. This one I did tab up because this was really, really funny. Oh my gosh, I enjoyed this so much. I'm going to talk about it in my wrap-up, but I have books 1 and book 2 for both of these were for block tours, so I enjoyed them. Okay, so the last 3 books are books that I purchased myself. Most of these are from Amazon, and then 2 I picked up from Walmart not too long ago. So the first one I actually got for my son, I will show you guys, and it's going to be Dogman For Whom the Balls Roll by Dave Pilkey. My son is a fan of Captain Underpants, and he has a Dogman and the Tale of 2 Kittens, and really enjoys that. So I saw this, and they only had it for like $9.08 at Walmart. So I snagged it up, and my son is only 5 years old, but he really loves in the back how they teach you how to draw the characters. And he's done this already in the other book, and he's really, really good at that. So I figured I would snag this up for him to go along with the books that he also got from his book sale, and I can give it to him for Christmas. My son is only 5. He loves reading books. He loves looking at pictures, and that's something that we definitely can bond over. So I picked this one up for him. The other book I got from Walmart is one that I've really been wanting to try for a minute. I'm not a fan of her romances, or rather, I've never read her romances, only because I'm not into chick lit. I'm not into historical fiction. I'm not into really, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm just, the way she writes, I'm not into her writing, if that makes sense, okay? Like her and Nicholas Sparks, I know I should try their writings, but I just don't want to. But I know that this was a different type of genre for her. I believe this is fantasy, so I figured I would give it a go, and that's going to be Nora Roberts' Year 1. It's the first book in the Chronicles of the One. Yes, I know that book 2 is out, and book 3 should be out now, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Book 3. Yeah, book 3 came out on the 26th of November, so the entire trilogy is out. I decided to get this. I heard really great reviews about this, and I'm super, super stoked to dive into this. This is sort of an end of the world with fantasy aspects. I've heard that there are fairies, there are witches, there are gargoyles, and everything in this book, and I'm super here for it. And it looks creepy with the crow on the front, but we have Year 1 by Nora Roberts, and if I do enjoy this, I will snag the next 2 books in the same kind of mass market paperback. But this one was only $6.74 from Walmart. Moving on to Amazon. So I had a lot of Amazon gift card credit, so I decided to splurge and get myself some books because we love books. So the first book I got because I ended up buying the sequel from Book of the Month by A, and it is right here, which I got Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell. Now, I have read a few of her books. I've read Eleanor and Park. I've also read Fangirl. I do want to reread Fangirl before I dive into these, but I know in Fangirl, the main character, can't remember her name, she wrote a series about Simon Snow, and then Rainbow Rowell actually went and wrote the actual story into 2 novels. So it's kind of like a fantastical version of Harry Potter with vampires and dragons and all that. So I picked up this in the paperback because I heard they don't have it in hardcover, and I don't know if they were still giving out. I don't think they were giving out the new hardcover dust jackets anymore, so I just got the paperback. I don't mind if my books are like paperback and hardcover. It doesn't bother me as bad as most people get bothered. Like, it irritates me sometimes, but it's not bad. So I just snagged this one up, and it's of course Carry On. And when I got this in the mail, I was super stoked. I was squealing in the kitchen just because it's so cute. And I wasn't expecting this map, like this fold out map. I was not expecting that. So I was really, really excited to get that. So we have this, and I'm excited to see what I think about it. There's mixed reviews about it, but the artwork on this is like gorgeous. The cover is stunning. So we have Carry On. Following that, I had to pick up one of my favorite books. So there are a lot of books that I really, really enjoy, and I want to own all of my favorite series. Every series that I love as a favorite, I want to buy, because what I do is I mostly read ebooks. So I read ebooks, and if I love the book a lot, I then go and buy physical copies. So I have the first book, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to get the second book, and I'm going to pick up the third book soon, as well as a novella. But I had to snag this up. It was not expensive, and I love this series. It's Unhinged by A.G. Howard, which is book 2 in the Splinter trilogy, excuse me. So I got this because I love this series. And this is Morpheus on the cover. And we love Morpheus. There is Alice, of course, Morpheus, and Jeb. And Jeb is on the cover of the first book. I have Splintered up there. I'm not going to get it. So I'll throw the cover up on the screen. But that's the cover for Splintered. And it is gorgeous. And I couldn't not just get this. And I just love how the font is not black. I don't know if you're going to pick it up, but it's like a deep kind of eggplant purple. Oh my god. It's so pretty. And I love this series. And the chapter headers are gorgeous as well. But here are the others. So this is Splintered, this is Ensnared, and this is the novella bind-up. This is a different series, another book that she has called Roseblood. But I love that her covers feature people with these floral aspects to it. And if I'm not mistaken, Morpheus, he's a moth, but he reminds me of the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland. So hopefully that makes sense. But I love this series so much. This trilogy, excuse me, is so good. So I had to snag this up because why not? So we have this. Next, I decided to just snag some books that I've been wanting to get for the longest, and I didn't want to wait for. Well, this one was a new release, and I needed it right away. Like, there was no waiting for it. There was no, like, we needed it because we love. And that's going to be Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. I am so stoked to own this book. I've heard there are a lot of people that are not happy with the end of this book, but there is one person, I don't remember who it was, but I watched her video. Oh my god, what is her name? I can't remember her name at the moment, but I do love Chandler Ansley, I think that is her name. I'll leave a link to her video. Click the eye to watch it, where she read all 3 of the books in one day, and she just raved about it, and I'm so stoked to dive in. I will be rereading The Cruel Prince and The Wicked King, which are both right here on my shelf. I'm tempted to purchase a hardcover of The Cruel Prince to go with my 2 hardcovers that I have for The Wicked King and this, but I'm just gonna be content with the paperback that I got. But she is gorgeous. I love the foiling on this, and I just love how it looks. I'm excited. I miss Carden. I miss Jude. I need romance. I heard that one of the characters that I can't stand dies, so I'm here for it. I heard there was some stuff with Taryn in here, and I need to see if she can be redeemed, because I personally do not like her. I can't stand Taryn. I cannot stand her as a sister. She's terrible. But I'm excited to see if she can be redeemed for my personal taste, so we'll see. But this is the conclusion. I'm not ready for it to be over. I'm not ready, you guys. I'm not. Maps. We love maps. I feel like the maps get better every time. For some reason, every book they get better and better. And I love how they always start like that. So So I'm probably going to color mine in. But it seems to take place around Christmas time. Just because of how wintry it looks. And the cover looks like it's snow. So that means it's definitely going to be a December read. But I'm probably not going to read it in December. But we have the Queen of Nothing. Following that, I went and got some books that I actually ended up taking out from the library, but never got a chance to read. My library books are like sitting right there. I need to take them back to the library. So I figured, let me just buy my own because I don't know when I'm going to get to them. So the first one is going to be Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. I have read The Iron King, I think it is. It's part of her Iron Fae series. I only read the first book and really, really enjoyed it. So I need to finish it. And then I know she has the other series, which is, I don't remember what the name of it. I think it's called Talon. Don't quote me on that. I don't know if that's the name of like the series or if that's just the name of the first book. But I haven't read that one either. So I definitely want to finish her Iron Fae series and then dive into the Talon series and then into this. But this cover is gorgeous. And it deals with kitsunes. And I have a thing for kitsunes or gumiyos, as is said in the Wicked Fox. But nine-tailed foxes, I'm here for. We're here for a nine-tailed fox. I believe she's a nine-tailed fox, or she's just a fox. I don't know, but foxes in general just give me life. So I figured I would get it, and now I own it, and then I'm gonna also get the rest of the series in paperback as well. I prefer the way the new paperbacks look. They're really, really pretty, but whichever paperbacks I can get my hands on doesn't bother me. So we have this. The next book is one that I don't hear many people rave about enough. I've seen a few people because I typed in book review titles, like reviews for this book, and I think 2 or 3 women popped up, and I really enjoyed their videos. But that's going to be Dread Nation by Justina Ireland, and yeah, I got it because it sounded cool. First of all, it has deckled edges. I love deckled edges. I don't know if anyone else does, but I love a good book with deckled edges in this cover. And the reason why I got this is because I saw that they had a sequel coming out, and I want to read this really, really, I don't know if it's out already or if it's coming out. Don't know, but the sequel, the cover looks really pretty. But yeah, this, oh my gosh, how can I explain this? This is historical fantasy is what I'm gonna call it. And her name is Jane, and it deals around the time, I think it's around the time of slavery. Not 100% sure, but I know that it has zombies and that she is trained to fight zombies and to look pretty and all this great stuff. And she is mixed. Her mother was a slave, I believe, and her father's a plantation owner. Again, don't quote me. I don't remember. I got the book and threw it on the side so that I could haul it. But I heard that it's good. Historical fantasy, zombies. I'm here for it. So we have it, and the cover is gorgeous. Really gorgeous. So Dread Nation. Okay, so the next book I got because I have the sequel from Book of the Month, which is right here. It is Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Yup, that author right there. Can't pronounce it. But I have the sequel from Book of the Month. Can't read it because it's a sequel. And I own, or rather, I borrowed the first book from my local library, but I'm not sure when I'm going to get a chance to read it. So I figured I would go and get the first book myself. So I went on the Amazon store. And all of these books I'm mentioning right now are from Amazon. But I got them from their marketplace where you can basically get them cheaper. It's kind of like thrift books on Amazon in a sense. So I got this, and I thought it was going to come like that, but this is actually the Book of the Month edition, which is funny. So I ended up getting City of Brass, which is book 1, in the actual Book of the Month edition, which was so funny to me. So yeah, I know that this deals with the Gen. It is new adult. Apparently, some people thought it was YA. I've heard that this is new adult. I'm not sure. I'm gonna say adult fantasy, but it deals with the Jinn, and I'm excited to dive into it now that I own a copy of it. And this is an actual Book of the Month book. Either way, I was gonna put this on my Book of the Month shelf because the one from Book of the Month was actually sold out, and so is Kingdom of Copper. So I was stoked to actually receive a Book of the Month copy in the mail when that's actually what I wanted anyway. So I'm just gonna go on my Book of the Month shelf, but. Yes, we have it. I can't wait to read it and everything else, and I'm excited. So, yeah. The last book in this haul is again another YA fantasy, and I've heard many people rave about this, especially Peru's Project. If I can find her video, I think she did a reading vlog with this book, and it's going to be The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. And I've been wanting to read this for a minute. I own the ebook, but I was like, you know what, let me just snag this up. It was really cheap and affordable. So I got it from Amazon, and I also want to get my hands on the sequel soon, but I'm going to read the first book first before I go out and buy the sequel, because if I don't really care for it, I can just read the sequel on ebook. But, yeah, I don't know much. I just heard that this is really dark, it's fantastical, and it's like an underground type of thing that happens in New York City. I'm a born and raised New Yorker, Bronx girl all day. Currently living in Jersey though, but I'm a New Yorker all day. So any type of book that takes place in New York, I'm here for it. Especially if it's fantasy, I'm here for it. So this cover though is really gorgeous. Looks like a snake. Yeah, 2 snakes. One is dead, one is alive. That's what it looks like. That looks like either the Brooklyn Bridge or the George Washington Bridge. Oh, yeah, that's what that looks like. So tell me if this is Brooklyn Bridge or George. No, it's probably not Brooklyn. I think this is George Washington. It's one of those bridges. So yeah, and I love the spine. This book cover itself is gorgeous. And yeah, it's blue, and I really just love that right there. I don't know if that's like rose gold or bronze, but whatever. But that is it for my haul, you guys. Those are all the books I got in November, minus 3 books that I'm still waiting on. But like I said, I'll include those books in my December book haul, and there'll probably be more books because I'm gonna probably order some more from the Scholastic bookstore. His school has a habit every month, and I have my eyes on so many books that I want from there. So we'll see how that goes. But other than that, if you are not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. If you are, click the bell to stay notified, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.